What's going on YouTube? Welcome back to the channel, welcome back to some more Warzone. So in today's video I'm going to be talking about the AK-47 Cold War and whether it's better than the Xm4 for sniper support. I'm going to be going over some statistics of the weapon and there'll also be some loadouts towards the end of the video. So if you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing to the channel, give it a thumbs up and make sure you hit the notifications bell for when I'm uploading future content. So with that, let's get straight into it. So recently the Xm4 had a buff for the recoil and they kind of smoothened it out a little bit, and I have done a video on the Xm4 versus the fara. But I kind of wanted to look at the AK-47 versus the Xm4 if you're going to be using it for sniper support. Obviously you're going to be using it at those closer engagements, so the recoil doesn't really play too much of a factor in it because you're not going to be hitting targets sort of 100 meters away with the AK-47 because obviously you're going to be using your sniper for that. So I kind of thought, let's give it a go. Let's have a look at the Xm4 versus the AK-47. And to be honest with you, the AK-47's TTK is so much better than the Xm4. So if you guys can manage the recoil, I definitely recommend you guys give this one a go. I mean, if you have a look at the statistics that I'm going to show you guys now. So if you have a look at the base stats for the Xm4 and the damage values, you get 42 to the head, and then for the chest, the stomach and the extremities, it's only 28. Whereas the Xm4 has 51 to the head, 38 to the chest, and then 32 to the stomach and the extremities. And then if you have a look at the TTK chart, you can clearly see that the AK-47, which is in purple, absolutely destroys the Xm4. So I definitely recommend you guys give the AK-47 a go because it absolutely destroys people up close. And if you're going to be using it for those sort of longer distances, you can still manage the recoil up to kind of 50 or even 80 or 100 meters. But then by that time, you're going to be using the sniper anyway. So I definitely think you guys give it a go. Now, obviously, if you're asking me, is the AK-47 a better weapon than the Xm4 if you're just going to be using it as an AR, I'd probably recommend you use the Xm4 over the AK-47 just because you are going to be missing those shots at distance, which kind of then means that the TTK for the Xm4 is going to overtake the AK-47. But if you're using this for sniper support, I definitely would recommend the AK-47 over the Xm4. And then obviously if you're looking for a weapon that gives you the minimum amount of recoil, then I'd probably recommend the fara. Or I've also seen people using the Krig as well, but to be honest with you, the damage output on that isn't that great, so I'd definitely recommend you guys use the fara over the Krig if you are looking for a gun that has minimal recoil. Okay, so I think what we'll do now is let's have a look at the recoil patterns for the AK-47 and the Xm4. Okay, so have a look at the AK-47 first. Now, as you guys can see, it literally goes straight up. It's got huge vertical recoil, so all you need to do is pull back on the thumbstick. And then with the Xm4, it goes more to the right. It's got a bit more of a kink to the right, but nowhere near as bad. Obviously, they've got exactly the same amount of ammo, and the AK-47, the recoil, vertical recoil is a lot harder. We'll do the AK-47 again, and it just keeps on going towards the sky. And then you have the Xm4, I'll do it one more time for you guys. So you can see it's got a faster fire rate, so maybe that has something to do with it. But the AK-47 has more space in between each bullet, which kind of makes you feel like it's obviously got more recoil because of the spaces in between the bullets. But that's more to do with the lower fire rate as well. So here's me trying to manage the recoil by pulling down on the thumbstick. So we'll have a look at the recoil patterns in a second. But yeah, I mean the AK-47, it's literally just pull down on the thumbstick, whereas with the Xm4 you've got to pull down to the left a little bit, if that makes sense. So I mean there isn't much in it when I'm trying to manage the recoil. There's a bit of a jump between the first bullet and the second with the Xm4 as with the AK-47. So let's have a look now. I mean, I would say obviously the Xm4 is tighter. But just remember, you're going to be using this for close range. You're not going to be using this for at distance. So yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, it depends on your play style and how easy it is for you guys to manage the recoil. Okay, so I think what we'll do now is let me guys show you the loadouts that I would recommend you guys use for sniper support for the AK-47, and I'll also do the Xm4 for you guys as well. The loadout that I'm using for the AK-47, I'm using the suppressor over the GRU suppressor sight speed. With the GRU suppressor, it penalizes you on aim down sight, and obviously you're going to be using this in close engagement, so you want to be able to get aim down sight as quickly as possible. I'm using this barrel because it helps you with the horizontal recoil and the vertical recoil and gives you bullet velocity and effective damage range. The only issue with this is it is going to affect you on your mobility, so you're going to need to use the Tiger Team Spotlight, which will help you in those closer engagements to be able to move around as quickly as possible. Now this is where it gets a little bit messy, guys, to be honest with you, because using this gun up close, if somebody drop shots in front of you, I find it really hard to readjust to aim down sight on them again. So I prefer to use the Microflex LED. There are some people that would be able to drop that and then they go with the KGB skeletal stock, but I guess you guys are going to have to work that out for yourself. With me, I struggle, so I go with the Microflex LED over the skeleton stock, and then obviously I'm losing out on some of the mobility, but it works for me, and I guess you guys are going to have to work that one out for yourself. And then I'm not using an underbarrel because I'm getting the benefits of the vertical recoil from the barrel, and then obviously you get a better aim down sight speed as well if you're not using the underbarrel. And then for solos, I'm using the 45 round mag. Obviously if you guys are in sort of duos, trios or quads, then you would be using the 60 round mag. And then with the Xm4, it's exactly the same loadout, using the same suppressor, the Task Force, the Tiger Team. You can either go with a Raider pad, or you can go with the Microflex LED, and then I'm using the 45 round mag and not using the underbarrel. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you're here this late in the video, please consider subscribing to the channel. Give it a thumbs up. You'd be really helping me out with YouTube's algorithm. And until next time, stay blessed guys. Take care.